Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to Watchers Podcast with your hosts, Brad and Colson.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Why are you doing this to us?
Gives you a home.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Brad, here with Colson.
Hello.
And the holidays are approaching, Colson.
They sure are.
And to put us in a festive, happy mood, we've decided to review 4 of the best horror movies of all time, possibly.
Yeah.
Not just Christmas horror, but possibly best horror movies.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the month of Christmas movies?
No.
No, me either.
Not at all.
No. I don't know why we do this to ourselves.
I know.
It's basically torture.
It is.
Just nothing good ever comes of this.
No.
Before we get into that, though, I have a scary story.
Okay.
This one comes from Adria Swartz Underwood.
Okay.
She says, "When I was 5, I lived in Ohio, in a house with steep, narrow board steps that led down to the basement. I was not allowed to go down there, but the door was always cracked open because the cat box was down there. One night I got up out of bed and for some stupid reason went down to the basement. Of course I tripped and started to fall, but actually I didn't. I can only describe the feeling as floating, but I landed safely on my feet at the bottom. I ran my ass back to bed, never told a soul for 20 years, and stayed the hell out of the basement."
That's weird.
Yeah.
Ghost stopped her and hovered her down.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like a happy ghost.
Yeah. Could be.
Or maybe they were wanting to get her down there to
murder
her or something.
Exactly.
I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Adria, for the story. If you guys want to send us your scary personal horror stories, Watchers_podcast on Instagram is probably the easiest way to do that.
Yeah.
We're always there.
That's right.
Like a good neighbor, Watchers is there.
Sure.
And there's a lawsuit.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, I'm Abby, the host of Portal 8 Podcast, where we talk all things paranormal and pop culture. Do you like ghosts, aliens, and creepy unexplained phenomena? Do you also enjoy pop culture news and watching the Bachelor franchise? Well, Portal 8 Podcast offers both. My sister Haley is my go-to guest for the mysterious.
That's right. We share our theories about ghosts, UFOs, unexplained deaths, and life's curiosities. If it's paranormal, we're talking about it.
And my husband Aaron is my co-host for the Bachelor commentary and recaps.
I'm not ashamed to say I watched The Bachelor too, and I have a lot to say about it. Will you accept this rose?
Step into the portal with us every week to embrace all things spooky and stay up to date with the latest Bachelor Nation tea. You can find the show on all major podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. And follow us on Instagram at Portal Podcast to stay in the loop. We can't wait for you to join us through the portal.
Fright Rags has been bringing you the best in horror apparel and accessories since 2003, offering a wide range of products for your favorite creature feature, slasher flicks, and cult classics. Collections include John Carpenter's Halloween, Universal Monsters, Night of the Living Dead, Creepshow, Twin Peaks, Evil Dead, Ghostbusters, and so many more. All officially licensed and only available at www.fright-rags.com. watchers-rags.com. Listeners get 10% off when they use the code WATCHERS10 at the checkout. So Coulson, get your ass over there. And we're back. Alright, we're moving on to our movie review for this week.
Yeah.
Black Christmas 2019, directed by Sofia Takal, sitting at a 3.3 on IMDb, and holy shit, what a movie.
Yep.
Coulson, first time watch for you?
First time. You too?
Yeah. Just so no one gets confused, this is the new one from Blumhouse.
Yep.
Not the 2006 remake or the original.
We did the original last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1974, I think it was.
The Bob Clark one.
Yeah.
So go back and listen to that one too and see what we thought about that. Do you want to give a bit of a rundown of this one?
Well, sure. I'll give who stars in it.
Yeah.
I know one person two. The first one is Imogen Poots.
Yeah.
Imogen. I don't know her fucking name.
Yeah, Imogen Poots.
The only thing I know her from is Vivarium.
Yeah.
That's it. And I didn't even know that until I looked up her IMDb. Elise Shannon. Anyway, yeah, Imogen plays Riley. Elise Shannon plays Chris. Lily Donahue, or Donna whatever, plays Marty. Brittany O'Grady plays Jesse. Caleb Eberhardt plays Landon. And Carrie Ewells plays Professor Gelson.
Yeah. All of these characters, very deep. Just multi-layered.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Sorry, just before we get into it,
yeah,
I'm just going to say,
uh-oh.
I know the argument will be made that this movie isn't made for us, but that's silly. No one makes a movie and be like, I want only half the population to watch it.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
No. And anything I have to say about this movie is not going to be because of the feminism.
Yeah.
It's going to be because of the movie.
Right.
But continue.
Okay, so we're just going to jump right into this. I'm kind of going deep on this one a little bit, kind of running it down. So, spoiler alert. Runs in at an hour and a half-ish, which is perfect time for a horror movie.
Yeah, could be shorter.
Yeah. Blumhouse, as you mentioned, so it has potential.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. So the movie starts with a quote, and the quote is, I don't know if I have this exact, because I kind of wrote it down, but it's man possesses powers so formidable they can only be considered supernatural. With a proper education, men can wield these powers and go forth into the world. And that's a quote by Calvin Hawthorne, founder of Hawthorne College, 1819.
I couldn't even read that.
Yeah, I had to...
The font is so small. I have a 65-inch television, and I couldn't read what it said. I don't know why they decided to make it so little.
But, so the movie, it starts with a bunch of sorority girls. They're handing out gifts to one another. One of the girls calls Lindsay to see where she is. And she says that, I can't make it. And the one on the phone says, I got you the perfect gift. And you'll never need a man again. Get it? So, anyway... that conversation happens. Lindsay, she's heading home to her grandmother's or some shit like that. So she's walking down a street, and we see her being followed by a guy who is looking at her phone, or at his phone. She gets a text, and it's from Calvin Hawthorne. And it's like a picture of a pig and a picture of a cat.
Yeah.
Like emojis or whatever the fuck those are called, I don't know. And then a text comes in and says, what do a Christmas ham and a sorority girl have in common? They both squeal before they die. Okay. So she's getting freaked out, thinking the guy following her is the one that's texting her. She gets her keys in her hand. Stupidest thing you could do.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's getting like Wolverine or Freddy Krueger. And she turns to confront him, and he turns and walks down another road.
Yeah.
Clearly just some random.
I love that she automatically assumes that this random guy behind her has her phone number.
I know. Yeah, so he goes the other way, and then she turns back forward, and there's somebody standing there. She runs up to a house and starts banging on the door. Turns around, that person is gone.
Yeah.
And then she...
Like a person in a robe.
Yeah, it's a robe with a... Couldn't really... It's got a mask of some sort, but it's like dark, shiny mask. So she runs, and no one answers the door, so she looks around, and the guy is gone, or the person is gone. She calls the sorority house back, and no one answers because they are having a party and they can't hear the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's stalked again by this guy this person who comes out, and she runs up and bangs on another door, or it may have been the same door.
I think it was another door, but it's being very generous saying that this girl's running.
Yeah.
She's like trotting in slow motion away from this person in a robe that clearly has bad intentions.
Yes. So she's banging on the new door, and the door opens, and the killer's standing there.
Yeah.
Which she then falls back and kind of makes a snow angel as she's trying to get away, as the killer grabs an icicle from the roof and stabs her in the chest, I think.
Yeah, right through her coat and everything.
Right through. She's dead.
Yep.
Next, we meet Riley. She's woken up, and she's getting ready for the day, and a woman named Franny comes in, saying that she lost, I believe she says Diva Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know I think that's like some sort of a cup that women use instead of a tampon.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
I will also tell people to check out Amazon and see what category Diva Cups fall under on Amazon.
That's a fun little thing we'll look into.
Yeah, because clearly Amazon doesn't know what a Diva Cup is for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she lost her Diva Cup. So Riley throws her a pad, which she then just undoes her pants, doesn't pull them down. She just reaches down and like mushes it on. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just go to your room. We get it.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was super awkward, uncomfortable to even watch. Like, it wasn't even funny. It was like, what are you doing? Weird. Jumping ahead, we see Riley. She's in her school. We see her teacher, Professor Gelson, and he's mentioning about how there's a petition going around to get him fired.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of get that feeling like, is this the guy? Is this the motive for this shitty killer?
Yeah. I will say right now, the killer reveal is... There's been episodes of Scooby-Doo that were more surprising who the killer was than this.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's babbling on about that shit. After school, we see a new character, Chris. She's the main person behind this petition, trying to get everybody who goes by to sign this stupid thing.
Yeah.
To get him fired. We see... so they go to her work or whatever. She works at a coffee shop. Riley does. So they're like, oh, we'll go get coffee with you.
Yeah.
And there she's still trying to get people to sign it. And we see a guy who likes what she's doing. So he signs it. And then he leaves and he holds the door open for people. And Riley's kind of watching this guy like, hey, this is a good guy.
Yeah. You kind of get the point like, he's a bit of a pushover.
Yeah.
Because he's standing there holding the door.
Yeah.
When there's just like person after person after
a bunch of people
coming through.
And then the last person, and she's smiling at this happening, and then the last person to come through is some jock-looking guy, and her face just changes immediately.
Yeah.
This guy, his name is, I don't know what his name is. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, Jock number 1.
Yeah, Jock 1. So he goes up to the women and asks if they're excited for tonight, and mentions that Brian's going to be there. And then one of the Gal says that he deserves to be in jail for what he did to Riley. And then this guy mentions, hey, we're going skiing. We're going skiing together, and says, don't worry, it's consensual.
Ugh.
And at which point the Chris, I believe, throws a cup of water in his face. Should have been scalding hot coffee.
Exactly.
Anyway. So yeah, he leaves.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever.
Wet.
Yeah. So now we cut to the nighttime. It's at this frat house, Dika, I think it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. And all the women are getting ready. They're dressing up exactly like Mean Girls.
Yeah. In the Santa suits.
Yeah, the Santa suits. So they're going to be doing a show. One of the girls isn't there, so Riley says, hey, I'll go take a look for her, or whatever. I'll go look for her. And she's out in the hallways of this frat house thing, and she sees the picture of Brian, and kind of gets that feeling, you know.
Yeah.
And then she hears some noises, and she goes and opens up a door, and we see some sort of frat pledging shit. It's like a bunch of guys in robes, and there's a statue there with shit leaking from its eyes.
Yeah.
And they're putting like it looks like ink on the forehead of a pledge. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah.
Which then she kind of closes the door, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, those guys probably thought they were going to be signed up for, like,
yeah,
having their nipples twisted and, like, dildos in their ass or something. Probably not having ink on their forehead.
Exactly.
What a terrible day.
Yes. So yeah, she hears a noise. She goes to another room, and this is where she finds Helena.
Yeah.
She's getting busy almost with the guy from the coffee shop.
About to bump uglies.
Yes. He's definitely moving faster than she's comfortable with.
Yeah.
As she's about to say something, he kind of like kisses her and stops her from saying anything.
Yeah, it's pretty much rape.
Yeah, for sure. He's grabbing a rubber.
Yeah.
Rookie. Get it? Sorry. So yeah, Riley interrupts this from happening and kind of says like, "Are you okay? You want me to stay? Whatever." And the guy is like, I think he calls him cock tease. I can't remember.
I think so.
But anyway, so he leaves, all upset. Riley gets Helena, an Uber, and she goes home.
Yeah.
So yeah, Riley goes to tell the others, "Hey, I sent her home. She's, she's not doing it. I think she says she ate something food poisoning or some shit.
Food poisoning, yeah.
So then they convince Riley to do Helena's part because she knows the choreography. She's been working with them, whatever. So so she's sucked into doing that. Yeah. She doesn't want to do it because Brian's in the audience, and they're like, "This is why you should do it.
Yeah,
stand up and do it.
Take your life back."
Yeah. Now, at this point, they keep... this might be the second or third time in the movie where we hear... Next is this group of girls, and then you'll hear women. And it's a thing that happens throughout the movie. Like, every time they're called girl or girls or whatever, it's corrected as women. So
yeah,
the women are taking the stage, and they're doing a horrendous dance and song thing. I wrote down, it's like what you'd see at like a school play from kindergartners.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, it was bad. It's embarrassingly bad. So Riley, she's up on stage, she sees Brian in the audience, gives her a wink. Classic douche thing. She freezes up and kind of falls back between the other three who continue the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then just everything starts building, and she jumps forward and starts her shit with basically calling him... I don't know, they say what he did in form of song.
Yeah,
what's the song? I wrote it down here. Up on the house, stop that song.
Yeah.
But they've changed the words to be...
basically like that he had a little dick.
Yeah.
And that the college boys are sick or something.
At one point she said, like, I couldn't say no because I was asleep.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Anyway. So they get booed off the stage. They're getting shit thrown at them and stuff, and they kind of run out laughing and having fun, feeling proud. And at this point, the guy that they meet at the coffee shop earlier in the movie, he comes out and introduces himself and says, hey, I'll join you guys for the night, which they're all good with. So, back at the sorority house, Helena is packing and gets sick. She runs off to vomit. Okay. Back in the streets, the people are making plans for what they're calling the orphan dinner. It's for the people who stay at school. They're going to stay behind and eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the only funny lines in the movie is when they're talking about the orphan dinner earlier.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, can I call it that?
Yeah.
And Riley's like, because both my parents are dead?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're making the plans for that shit, and then we see back at the house, we see Helena using mouthwash. She goes back to packing and gets a text, and it says, like, our time is here, and it has begun. And then she hears a noise, like a door close, I think, and she goes out to investigate, opens up her door, there's nothing there. She goes back into her room, and the killer steps out. Next day, Riley is having nightmares and wakes up. I think she was having nightmares. I can't remember what it was about, but she wakes up to a text about Lindsay, the first woman who got killed, not making it to her grandmother's house.
Yeah.
So they all go out to get a tree. Franny, the annoying one with the pad on at the beginning, she's staying behind. She's got a pack or whatever she's doing. And then we hear her cat meowing. And she's looking for her cat, going from room to room. And then she goes into one room and the cat kind of comes out in the hallway. And she walks out. And then we see essentially The Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in The Exorcist 3 it's like shears. What the hell? Garden shears?
Yeah, like
gigantic scissors.
Yeah.
As a weapon. And the woman walks out and something comes up rushing behind her. It's a zoom-in shot.
Walks super fast.
Yeah. And like cuts her from behind or whatever. This was Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And exactly the same.
Yeah, robe over their head.
Yeah.
And like just walking the same walk and everything.
And even the zoom in thing was all the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, he chokes her with Christmas lights, I guess.
Yeah, because you never really get to see any kills in this movie.
It's like you get there and then cut away.
Yeah. It is PG-13.
Yes.
Which we forgot to mention.
That's true.
And that's why you don't get to see anything.
That's right.
And there's a spot for PG-13 horror, but probably not in a remake where the other two movies are.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you're going to do a PG, it should be an introduction to horror, not a remake being used as an introduction.
Yeah,
should be an original story. Like, hey, let's like Tremors. I don't know if Tremors is PG-13 or whatever.
Yeah,
but it could be.
Yeah,
I mean,
Beetlejuice or something.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. So yeah. Anyway, the group of friends they're looking for a tree, and Riley gets a text that says, Riley and her friends are going to have fun tonight. And she replies, Landon? ? Keep guessing, honey. Maybe you'll get it right. And then she gets a call with no caller ID, and she answers it and saying hello repeatedly, and then sounds like somebody's choking almost, so I think you're led to believe maybe it's Franny calling or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it comes through clear, and it's Helena's mother, who says she still isn't home, and Riley says she'll check in at the house when she gets home.
Yeah.
So, back at the house, Riley goes into Helena's room. She's not there. She phones her, goes straight to voicemail. Riley tells the others Lindsay isn't home either, and they should call campus security. And then they debate, like, hey, it's only been a couple hours, whatever. And then,
it's like, maybe the weather.
Yeah, it could be anything. This is my favorite part of the movie. Another woman comes in. I think her name's Jessie. I didn't write it down, but she says, this is a quote. Guys, do I just turn the oven on and put the ham in? It feels too easy. And it's just like, Like, that's my favorite quote of this piece of shit.
Yeah, she's probably the best character.
Yeah.
She has a couple of lines like that are really funny.
It feels too easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Riley's walking. I guess she's going to talk to the security guard at this point. So she's getting more texts, and it says, "Can't wait to find out if you put up a fight." And that's right, little girl. We've got you in our sight. She's kind of looking around, getting freaked out.
Yeah.
At this point, she runs into Landon, and she asks him if he's the one DMing her, and he says no, but I will if you want me to, which was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So Riley, at this point, she gets to campus security, and this fucking guy is making a sandwich with mayo packs, like...
Yeah, little packets of mayo, like you would have with ketchup.
Awful looking.
He's just squirting them onto the bread.
So yeah, she tells him about her friends. He's doing the typical brushing her off bullshit.
Being a complete asshole.
Yeah, very condescending to her. Like, you know, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But he does go to check the house.
He does.
I think the Deke house is where they go to, the frat house. And tells her there that they're probably just playing a prank and to relax, whatever. Riley calls Helena's phone, and because the security guard leaves, so she's waiting there. She phones the phone and is listening to see if she can hear it ringing in the house.
Yeah.
And at this point, she gets a good scare by the teacher grabbing her arm.
The classic.
Yeah.
No one's in the frame, and then a random hand goes onto your shoulder. There's no original scares in this movie. I'll also point out.
That's true.
Everything is pretty cliche.
Yeah. It's Gelson, the professor from the beginning. He mentions the prank that they did at the house went too far, and that they should take the video down. She didn't even know there was a video. So he's apparently at this house to let the cleaners in, and I guess all the boys are on their ski trip. So at this point, I think he drops his bag, and she picks it up for him, and she sees like a list of names, like her friends' names are on there, and he's like, or she's weirded out by that. Of course, he would be.
Yeah.
And then he can't figure out what key it is, and then he grabs like the hide a key thing, and with her right there, like this frat house and the sorority are clearly pranking each other. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, here's the key. It's like, what are you, stupid? He opens the door right in front of her, invites her in, but she leaves.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah. So back at the house, they're eating their ham, and at this point, I was really hopeful that it was undercooked. So in 6 weeks, they could all perish. They're talking about animals, like, oh, what's your 3 favorite animal? They're playing some stupid game.
Yeah.
Riley comes in and she confronts Chris about why she posted the video online, and she asks her, did you watch it the whole way through? And she's like, no, I lived it. Why would I watch it? And she shows her the video, and at the end of the video, as they're leaving the house, we can hear somebody say, that'll teach Brian not to rape another girl.
Yeah, I think it's Riley that says it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you hear something like that, like clearly calling this guy out.
Yeah.
And then she mentions Gelson or whatever the fuck his name is, that he cornered her, and I'm getting weird DMs. And Marty, who is there, Marty and Chris are the 2 women there, and Marty's like, I'm getting weird DMs too, and Chris could give a shit and is just like, wait, he cornered you? Like, she's all on the... She got it out for this teacher.
Oh, yeah. And they kind of make it seem like she's one of those type of people that is offended by everything and will... Like the cancel culture kind of person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you said something and was taken out of context, she's going to try and get you fired. Or, like, she's going to be the one, like, agreeing that people should be taken off TV and stuff like that. She's that type of person.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
No. And Jess has another, I think her name is Jess, the ham girl, has another funny line in this part where they're arguing.
Oh, yes. Wait, I don't know if I have it or not. Do you remember it?
I forget what it is, but she's just like, nope. She's like, I'm going. Like, she just leaves. She's like, when you guys fight, I get anxious or something. Like,
yeah, that's right. It gets her away.
Yeah.
Which I'll get to in a minute here. Yeah. So Jessie, she leaves. She's going upstairs to look for Christmas lights. That's what she's doing.
Yes.
There's another funny part from her because she's plugging in lights and they're not working, and she says, "Do Christmas lights expire?" Anyway, so she's doing that and it's a dark room. The light won't turn on it's like an attic-y type room.
Yeah,
and the light won't turn on, and she's grabbing them and plugging them in. Nothing. Grabs the next set, plugs it in. Nothing. Do Christmas lights expire? Grabs the next set. Plugs it in, and the killer is, of course, right there.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, it's very, it. This one was so in your, it was so obvious.
Every jump scare in this, you see it coming.
Oh, for sure.
There's no tension at any point.
No, not at all. Nate, who is, Marty, I think, his girl, he's her boyfriend. So he starts arguing to Chris about men and says, not all men are rapists and evil. And then Marty and him start fighting, and she ends up throwing him out.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't even really mentioned, by this point, almost every single conversation that these girls are having is about how terrible men are.
Yeah, that's true.
The director said she wanted to make this movie as feminist heavy as possible.
Yeah.
To drive the point home.
Oh.
But she goes to the point of where she just gets rid of the plot.
Yeah.
To push feminism, it seemed.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So by this point, that guy just blows up.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
No. So Marty throws him out, and then their phones all start beeping, and it's threats on all their phones, and then the killer starts shooting fucking arrows at them from 15 feet away, I'd say.
Yeah.
And he misses.
Oh yeah.
Wildly misses. He hits Marty in the leg, grazing her calf. And she is down and out.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, he barely gets her.
Yeah.
And who in 2019 uses a bow and arrow as a weapon?
I know.
You have guns.
Yeah.
There's no need to be going in there with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, the silent killer.
Yeah. Maybe something a little more practical.
Yeah.
Like a knife.
And if you're going to use the bow and arrow, for sure aim.
Yeah.
Because you clearly can't.
Yeah, you can't just randomly shoot arrows and hope for the best.
Horrendous.
Or get a crossbow.
Crossbow, yes. He nicked her they all ended up losing their phones in the panic, I think, because they mentioned they all run away, and they mentioned I don't have my phone, whatever. So Riley, she goes down with a spear. I think she broke a broom or something, and has a spear weapon. And they're kind of playing that cat and mouse shit. You see her hiding behind a wall, and the killer kind of goes through and blah blah blah. So Chris, at this point, up in the room, goes to find Jessie, who is the one who was testing the Christmas lights. And Chris is in the room where Jessie was looking for the lights and sees her sitting on a chair and turns her around. We again see nothing but Chris's reaction.
Yeah, and a shard of glass sort of sticking out.
Yeah, you
can barely see.
Yeah, something, but it's very quick cutaway.
Yeah.
Nate at this point comes back inside looking for Marty, and finds out that Riley's she's been hurt, somebody shot her, whatever, and he's going to protect my girl.
Yeah.
He's freaking out. It's fucking...
This guy's acting is the worst.
It's so bad.
Yeah. The acting is the worst I've seen in this movie, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah. He's going... I'm gonna protect her, whatever. And I think he grabs an axe or something, and he just stands up. It's like you said, the worst, because he goes, "Show yourself, coward!"
Yeah.
And then gets now the guy with the bow and arrow can shoot because he hits him right in the head with it, right in the eye or the skull, whatever, fucking kills him. It's great. So yeah, the killer then grabs Riley and he like cuts her cheeks up weirdly with like a knife or something.
Yeah, I mean, because if you have a chance to kill her, why not just scratch her cheeks instead?
Then, he's smearing the blood around, and it's very strange. And then he realizes that they're standing under mistletoe. So then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kiss you now."
Yeah.
So he leans in, and there's like a Santa Claus there, like a dancing Santa thing, and it starts dancing or singing, and it distracts the guy. And she kind of rolls away, grabs the axe and the keys, or goes for the axe, but ends up grabbing keys or whatever, and like stabs him, I think in the neck.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see, but anyway, stabbed him in the neck area.
And I think the whole key thing, like, she does the same thing with keys between the fingers.
Wolverine.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, like, women are told, like, if you're being attacked, put keys between your fingers and use it as a weapon.
The best thing to do is your fingernails, because if the worst were to happen to you, they scrape those things out, and then they got the guy's DNA.
That's true.
You know? I don't know. That's what I would assume. Scratch people.
Go for
I always
the
tell my
eyes.
wife, scratch them. Although, if anything happens to my wife, I'm fucked because 90% of her day when we're together is scratching me, my legs, my back, my head. So, I'm an itchy person.
Yeah, I'm sure you've probably made death threats
for sure.
on the show.
Yeah.
I think maybe even in the Dark and the Wicked episode.
That's right. I mentioned about throwing boiling water on it.
Yeah.
That is something that I do regularly around here. Yeah. So, Marty and Chris, they join Riley, and they see that Marty sees her boyfriend is dead. At this point, Riley is reaching for the mask of the killer, and another killer comes out.
Yeah.
So
surprise.
Exactly. So they run for the door. They're cut off by... I thought at the time it was another killer, but then I had to rewind to watch again. I think it's just the same one.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get cut off at the door. Marty says to the killer at this point, "I've called the police." And she's kind of hiding an axe behind her a little bit.
Yeah.
And then she just swings it at him, and he blocks it, grabs it, and then swings it back and hits her right in the gut.
Yeah.
He leaves her there. I think he kicks her once, maybe, but she's alive still, and she's reaching for her phone, or a phone, as the others run off and hide. So at this point, we see the security guard getting a call about a 911 call or whatever, and he's like... surprised, like, people are getting, what? And he just jumps up.
He's like, I'm there.
He goes. So, okay, good. She called the police. Perfect. Or the shitty rent-a-cop guy. So Chris, at this point, she has a knife, and she sneaks out. She's attacked by the killer, and Chris grabs the ham fork and, like, stabs him in the back with it.
Yeah.
And back at... yeah, there's no blood either, and it's all like black ink shit that they use, I guess.
Yeah, and it was to get away with having blood, I guess, in PG-13.
Yeah,
they use this black stuff.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I skipped over a part here, so sorry. Yeah, so they stab the guy. And then the security guard, as that fight is happening, the security guard boots open the door, and he's like, "Freeze!" or whatever. And it pans out, and it's a completely different house, but the same shit is happening.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of women fighting these masked things.
Yeah.
And then
masks kind of look like the mask from The Mask. Like...
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's just kind of like a wooden black mask or something.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so it's another house with the murders, same thing's happening. He gets, like, stabbed in the back, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So then at this point, they realize there's no blood, it's all that black ink stuff. They remove the mask of this guy, and they see it's the pledge from the beginning who was getting the shit put on his forehead.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris at this point goes to check the other body and gets attacked by yet another guy. This one, they kind of put a bag over his head, I think.
Yes, kind of a nice reference to the original Black Christmas.
That's right. So yeah, they wrap a bag up and they get out to the car. And another killer has the bow and arrow thing, and he shoots it at the car as they drive away.
Yeah. Practical.
Yes. So Chris at this point... they're in the car talking about what they saw, what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and at this point, you could skip the entire movie.
Yeah.
And go to this scene.
Yeah.
Because they tell you the entire movie while driving in the car.
They do. So yeah, they argue about what's going on, and Riley tells her about the ritual thing that she saw the night of the concert. And Chris wants to go to the police or whatever, and Riley wants to take care of it on her own. So they split up at this point, and she goes to the frat house. She's going to go check the room where this was all happening. Mm-hmm. She runs into Landon on her way there. Chris stops at the house where the security guard was, and all the girls from that house run out and jump in her car.
Yeah.
And they kind of, hey, the same thing happened here. So, yeah, at the frat house now, Landon, he goes inside the house to get... He had, like, a DJ equipment or something.
Yeah.
So he's there to get his shit out.
Yeah,
and
he was DJing, like, the night they did that prank with the dance and singing.
So, yeah, all his shit is wrecked, and so he starts smashing all their shit, taking pictures and breaking them and everything. And all the guys, the frat guys, come in, and they say, like, what do you want? What are you doing? And, no, they say, what do you want? And here's a quote from him, suck a fat fart, because you just got zapped hard, or whatever the fucking frat he's from. Suck a fat fart.
Yeah.
Oof.
Best insult ever.
Yeah. So, they say, hey, why don't you join us? And, he starts hearing, like, a ringing noise, and he's plugging his ears, like, oh, you know, that type of shit.
Yeah.
He's holding his head in pain. Riley breaks into the room, sees the statue thing, and she hears Helena crying for help. So she runs in to help her. It's in a different room. I think it was in the room that she was about to get raped in. And she's kind of consoling her or whatever. She's, like, chained up to a table. And then we see somebody come in behind her, and then Helena starts smiling, like, aha. And Riley gets knocked out.
Yeah.
So she's coming to. We see Landon being converted. He's getting the ink shit put on his head. And then she wakes up to a bunch of fucking idiots smashing their stupid paddles.
Yeah. Banging them against the floor.
Yeah. All in their dumb cloaks and stuff. And we see the Professor Gelson filling her in on everything.
Yeah, it's like the typical bad guy telling his plot to the hero.
Exactly. I didn't write this shit down because it was a lot. Something to do with when Chris had the statue moved, the boys found something inside.
Yeah, somehow.
Of it. Dark arts things, left instructions on how to take their power back. Men tired of being falsely accused, belittled, etc.
Yeah.
Etc.
And the black ink stuff that comes out of the statue, the director said that's supposed to be toxic masculinity.
Ew.
Like, in a literal form.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So, they read the incarnation inside the bust. It fills them, inside the statue. It fills them with power. They needed the list of women who, you know, that's why the teacher had that shitty list in his thing. So, women who behave will be spared. Helena collected all the shit, so she, throughout the movie, she got, like, some stupid headband thing or something.
Like a comb.
Yeah. So that was...
From Riley.
That was it's like a possession thing.
Yep.
Type thing. So yeah, all this shit's laid out on a table, and Helena was a good egg, and helped these guys out, and yeah. She's called a traitor. by Riley.
Yeah.
So apparently it's men versus women in life, but...
Yeah.
God, anyway. Yeah, so Brian, at this point, the rapist guy, comes in and asks if she, meaning Riley, is going to bow to the king. The king comes in, walks right by Riley, and Helena's like kind of there, like backing up, like what the hell? And realizes that her necklace or something is
her
on
diva cup.
Yeah, oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was the diva cup.
No, it wasn't her. It wasn't her. That was. Somebody,
yeah, that's
that may have been on the table.
The diva cup is on the table.
Shit! I never even noticed that. I saw the necklace because it was a necklace with her dumb name on it, Helena.
Right.
No offense to all the Helenas out there. I just don't like this specific Helena. Yeah, so her necklace. I'll have to rewatch that to see what that fucking thing looks like. Anyway, so this king guy just grabs her and twists her head around.
Yeah, snaps
her neck, I guess. And then so Riley then bows. And Brian, like, brags to everybody, like, I told you I'd get her to bow. Yeah. And then she attacks him and starts getting attacked by the king. This was a mess of an ending, too.
Oh, yeah.
She's being choked by the king, and the king gets arrowed in the back, like a bow and arrow. An arrow shoots into his back.
Yeah.
And it pans across, and we see Chris with the bow and arrow, and all those other sisters making the Mighty Ducks flying V.
Yep.
And she says, where the hell is it here? I think it's, you mess with the wrong women. Or something to that effect. Oh, you mess with the wrong sisters. And all hell breaks loose. The women start fighting the men.
Yeah.
It's weird. Riley, at this point, she runs, and her and Brian start fighting. She gets taken down, and she's being held down, like being choked or whatever. And this is where she starts having flashbacks of the night in question.
Yeah.
And she then reverses the position, gets up, picks up the statue, picks it up over her head, and throws it and it smashes. All the black ink shit goes everywhere, and all the zombie frat guys who are under this spell kind of collapse.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, Chris grabs like a fucking lantern thing and throws it on a human being.
Yeah.
And it lights him on fire. For sure, attempted murder right there. Like, I don't get it. It was the Gelson guy.
Yeah.
She threw him, and he started on fire. They then run out of the room and lock them all in it. Like Carrie did in Carrie.
Yeah.
These people are, at this point, they're out of their crazy haze thing.
Exactly. And they know this because Landon, who was under the spell, is with them, and he's normal again.
Yeah.
So they know that these people are no longer under the, black ink spell.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they just lock the doors and burn them all.
Barricade it up, and they go outside and watch the frat house burn.
Yeah. And smile.
Yeah. And then the end credits happen. Now, at this point, I was hoping it would cut to, a judge's gavel hitting, and we'd hear, you were sentenced to 25 years to life, or whatever. Now, did you watch the mid-credit scene?
Yeah.
It's a stupid cat licking up
blood or something? Or the black stuff?
The black stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see a sequel of the cat under the power of that shitty Hawthorne.
Yeah, we can only hope.
This movie fucking stunk.
Yes.
This might be my least favorite horror movie I've ever watched.
Yeah, you can't call it horror.
Yeah, that's
true. It's that lacking in scares.
Yeah.
That it can barely be called horror.
That's true.
As I said, she wanted to make this feminist movie. That's fine. I have nothing against that.
Mm-hmm.
Why bother taking an established movie that already has a remake, and the remake that I haven't seen but I've heard is very good.
It's not bad.
And then make this that is nothing like either of those.
That's true.
Just call it something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The characters in this movie, I don't like any of them.
No,
I
all
don't
they
like
do
the
is
men.
fight.
I don't like the women. I don't like the cat.
No.
Every
character in this movie's an asshole, except for Landon.
Yeah, Landon's a good guy.
Yeah, everybody else, they're idiots. They're
Yeah.
constantly fighting with each other. They're doing shitty things to each other.
Yeah.
Like, and expecting no consequences.
Exactly.
Like, for the shitty things that they do to each other.
Yeah, And you mentioned earlier about Chris and her, like, cancel culture. I don't like those, and it seems like everybody has that to a point these days, especially because when something happens, everybody's like, take their TV show away or take their this away. If you don't like it, then don't support that person.
Exactly.
You don't have to try and get somebody's job taken away.
Yeah.
Especially on things where, this is going to get a little weird here, but in the Me Too movement, which we get, Harvey Weinstein's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But Matt Damon came out and said, look, we have to acknowledge that there is a difference between what Harvey Weinstein did and somebody patting a woman on the butt.
Yeah.
There's clear... If you don't think being raped or whatever and getting your butt patted, fully clothed, there's a difference there. And he said that, and everybody freaked out and wanted him removed from, I think it was Ocean's 8 or whatever the fuck that shitty movie was.
Yeah.
But, and it's like, you can't even, he's just saying his feeling on it. You can't take things away from him.
He's not saying rape is okay.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much of that.
Yeah.
And what bugs me even more is there's so much of that now without proof.
Yeah.
Like, someone could say, oh, this happened, and people are like, okay, it happened, it's fact, like, before the person is proven guilty or anything. Yeah. I personally don't know enough about the situation, but, like, currently Johnny Depp has been taken off, like, the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Okay.
Because of him and Amber Heard.
But I thought that everything came out in favor of him.
And it did originally, but then in court they ruled against him or something.
Because I heard audio just the other day of him saying, like, look, you attacked me. And she's like, yeah, I attacked you. Be a man. Yeah. So what are you talking about? You want to fist fight this guy? He'll kill you.
Yeah.
90% of the men in the world, there's those few UFC fighters and the few women that could kill men. Obviously, they kill men, but in a straight-up fist fight, there's not many women that I know personally that are going to do anything to me.
Yeah. That's the thing.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's...
Yeah, so it's gotten to a crazy point.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any more about it because I've probably annoyed some people already.
Yeah.
This movie was announced June 2019.
Yeah, that's right. I read something
and
about
came
this.
out in December 2019.
Yeah, 6 months or something like that.
And it shows.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
It's poorly edited.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a good movie.
No, it's not good. I have something else here. I'll do the normal thing here. So the body count for this, online it said 20 to 25, I assume because they're counting the frat guys that all burn. But for the most part, it's probably more like 8 or 10 that we actually somewhat see.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite or least favorite kill or anything?
I guess my favorite's the neck snap one.
Yeah,
because it's the only one you see.
Yeah. And least favorite could be any of them. I pick security guard because he just gets kind of stabbed in the back. You don't need to see anything.
Yeah.
He just kind of goes, ugh!
That's
and then falls down. Anything make you jump?
Nothing.
Me either. Now, what do you rate it?
Is the one the lowest we go, or
I was
is
going to
zero
ask
the
you
lowest?
the exact same thing. I can't go 0. I'm thinking maybe we could do half.
0.5 then.
Okay, me too.
It shouldn't be a horror movie.
No.
It shouldn't have been called Black Christmas.
Nope.
This
movie had potential too.
It did.
Yeah, I think they lost their way with the feminism thing.
Yeah.
And it just making it PG-13 hurt it in a way.
Yeah.
But not as much as everything else around it. You can make a decently scary movie in PG-13.
Yeah. Like The Conjuring and stuff is PG-13.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Those are scarier.
Yeah. It was a mess.
Yeah.
And you know it's bad. Like, Imogen Poots is in it.
Yeah.
And she's a good actress.
Yeah.
And she's not even good in this.
No, she was good in Vivarium.
Yeah.
So am I saying that right? Vivarium?
Vivarium,
okay.
yeah.
I want to see the Vivarium. Anyway. Yeah.
In this, she's just sad the whole time.
Yeah, she's very... Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing I was going to mention. You mentioned the IMDb score was 3 point whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I went online. Did you do this? You click on the thing, you can read reviews.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So what I did was, and this annoyed the shit out of me and amazed me too, but I was scrolling through and people were giving it 1s. Hundreds and hundreds of 1s. And a couple 2s and a couple 3s. And then I found one that said 10 out of 10. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for these higher ones.
Yeah.
This person wrote, this movie is more like a 5 out of 10, but because so many people are giving it a 1, it's not fair. So I'm giving it a 10 to even it out. So that's why, I'm assuming that happened more than once. That's why you're getting a 3.8 as opposed to a 2 or a 1 on IMDb, which it should be. But it's just crazy that people would actually do that. Who gives a shit? Like, if you think it's a 5, give it a 5. Don't give a shit what other people...
Exactly.
Give it 1s or whatever, but I just found that amazing.
Yeah, I really should have went and got some of the reviews for this. And read
some of them are... You get the punny things, like, I don't know. It was horrific and things like that. Like, it was just, not good.
No.
Not a fun movie. I wouldn't introduce this to anybody.
No.
And like when we decided to do this one, I didn't know anything about. I knew it was a Blumhouse, and I think I knew it was PG-13.
Same.
I
knew people hated it.
And that was another thing. Something about the trailer. They edited things in or out.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there's something. Maybe when she closes the door, we see a killer there. And I also may have read something about the original trailer being 100% like spoilers.
Yeah,
or something like that. Like I don't get it, but.
I wish we had just watched the trailer
instead. I know. We should have done 2007 or 6 Black Christmas.
I agree.
That one's fun.
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Good. Keep an eye out.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. If you stuck with us right to the end, thank you. Hopefully this was more entertaining than the 2019 Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Bye. That concludes our show. Hope you had fun. And if you want to subscribe, we're available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, though, please be sure to leave that coveted 5-star review. If you want even more Coulson and Brad, you can check out our Facebook page by searching Watchers Podcast. Follow us on Letterboxd at Campbell Brad and Noslock88. That's Coulson backwards, 88. And on Twitter at WatcherPod and on Instagram at Watchers_podcast. Bye.